Kyrie Jesu Domine, dona eis requiem.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to talk about politics today. Of course, I love talking about religion, faith, spirituality, but I also like talking about culture and politics. All those things affect our lives. You know, I also like talking about hobbies and current events and interests like that. But the big news event this week, of course, has been the fact that our president has been feuding with AOC and her squad, as it is now kind of elevated in the news. Anytime you give a group a name and it's even perceived remotely positive, you know, you have the endorsement of the establishment. And the establishment is not, it's not the government. The establishment is the left that really controls all the big levers in our society. The media, entertainment, big tech, and then you know, a large part of Congress, not complete, but lots, and universities. That was the missing little thing. Education, you know, education, entertainment, information. Wow, those are three big things to control an individual's life, and they're all dominated by the left. But you wonder if the chickens are coming home to roost with AOC and her compatriots. That you know, if you're an old 60s lefty, you ain't lefty enough anymore. And maybe that will be the one saving grace for the fact that people who are conservative have been asleep at the wheel since the sexual revolution and risk losing what has been collectively built by conservatives and liberals prior to World War II. Again, I always want to go back to, I think Dennis Prager says, you know, liberals are good people, believe in fundamental rights. Lefties do not. Lefties have a groupthink and a desire to control. And I think, you know, kind of the 60s generation of Democrats and intellectuals, they were liberals with lefty leanings and sympathies, and thought that, well, wouldn't it be great if we had more control over individuals, over elements of society? And then probably, you know, naively so, thinking that control always makes things better. Well, for the dictator it does, for nobody else, you know. But those are things that you have to wonder if it's all come home to roost, because I would say the younger crowd that's coming up really does not look at the predecessors, the people who actually gave them the opportunity and created the environment they grew up in. I don't know that they view them very favorably. I mean, they certainly don't view anybody on the right favorably. But they may see people on their own side who are not left enough as the first obstacles to go. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting way it percolates out. Because you always look at how people have perceived power. Because AOC is just one representative. But she you know, embodies part of this really strange 60s mentality. She's young, she's attractive, she's well-spoken, and she's pretty smart and savvy on things. You know, she's not as stupid as everybody thinks. She may not be an intellectual, but she's pretty astute. And to dismiss that, you know, I think that's one of the worst things you can do with a person, is dismiss their capability. Because you may find out that the man or woman you thought was a dunce has outmaneuvered you in the long run, and that you now are in the losing position. So we should be more mindful of that. She's maybe not the brightest person in the world when we think of intellectual wattage, but in terms of personal savvy and political astuteness, I think she's a pretty good learner for a very young age, and we would do poorly to dismiss her. The question is what will conservatives do, and moderates and true liberals, if she and her flunkies decide that a purification of the party's in need, and the purification of that party will be the very people that gave her opportunity within that climate, like the Nancy Pelosi's. And I think we may find that some of the race hustlers of the past and the political hustlers of the past are going to get outmaneuvered and feel very upset.